plasma cutting. Plasma cutting is the ionization of air together with electric charge that produces a cutting arc that is very effective in cutting. Our range consists of a number of machines. The first being the Cut 40, that'll cut up to 12mm plates. It's a 12mm severance cut, not a clean cut. If you're doing continuous work with the machine, don't go over 6mm plate. Then we have the Cut 60. The Cut 60 will cut 20mm plate, also severance cut, not for production work. The Cut 100 will cut 30mm plate, also severance cut, not recommended for production work on 30mm plate. The Cut 120 will cut 40mm plate, once again a severance cut, not recommended for production. And the Cut 160 will cut a massive 50mm plate, also severance cut. For clean cuts, you can take 5mm off each size. When cutting stainless steel with any of these machines, you can knock off 30% of the plate thickness. The Cut 40 is a bigger selling plasma. For the demonstration, we'll be using the Cut 40. A compressor is necessary when using a plasma cutter. It is recommended to use a 100 litre, 1.5 horsepower compressor for the bulk of the range of plasma cutters. However, for the Cut 40, a 50 litre compressor is sufficient. If we take a look at the rear end of the machine, we have a gas hose which is connected to your compressor, a normal 220 volt single phase supply. There is a water trap. The water trap is built in underneath the machine, and by pressing that dimple, you'll release the water out of the trap. The front of the machine consists of an on-off switch, a potentiometer to control the cutting current, a gauge to monitor the air pressure, and a regulator to regulate the air pressure, a earth receptacle, and the plasma torch receptacle. Alvin will now connect up the plasma torch. It's very important when connecting the torch that you use the plastic insulator. What this plastic insulator does, it will prevent the operator from coming into contact with the brass receptacle, avoiding any possibility of shock. The trigger wires can now be connected, and the earth clamp. It's very important to understand the consumables that are used on the torch. These consumables need to be kept in stock at all times. We'll start off with the outer nozzle. It is a ceramic nozzle that once chipped or burnt should be replaced. Then we have the cutting tip, which is a little copper nozzle. Once it's distorted or burnt, it's time to replace. Then we have the air diffuser. Just like the outer nozzle, once it's chipped or burnt, it's time to replace. And the air electrode. The air electrode, in the middle of the air electrode, is a material called hephium. Once this hephium burns to a dimple of 1.5mm, it's time to replace. To put all the consumables back together is very simple. First, the air electrode, then the air diffuser, then the nozzle, and the shield cap will hold all of it in place. The torch is ready to start cutting with. Before we can start cutting, we need to connect the air up to our air supply and switch the machine on. The best working pressure is 5 bar. To adjust the pressure, pull the knob out, turn clockwise to increase. Once the air pressure is set, the regulator can be pushed back into place to lock the air pressure in place. Dark wraparound specs are necessary when using the plasma cutter, just to avoid any damage to the eyes. Hold the nozzle on the job, pull the trigger, and you can commence with cutting.